Gautam, start the recording.
Started, Mataji.
Which chapter? Scheduled incarnation is over. The questions by King Parikshit. Rajovacha Brahmana chodito Brahman Gunakhyani Gunasya cha Yasmai Yasmai Yatha Praha Narado Devadarshanah Brahmana by Lord Brahma Choditaha being instructed Brahman O learned Brahmana Sukadev Goswami Guna Akhyani in narrating the transcendental qualities Agunasya of the Lord Agunasya then Yasmai Yasmai and whom as such. Agunasya means the Lord who is without material qualities, and Yasmai Yasmai and whom Yatha as much as Praha explained Narada Narad Muni Deva Darshanaha, one whose audience is as good as that of an demigod. So King Parishad inquired from Sukadeva Goswami, how did Narad Muni, whose hearers are as fortunate as those instructed by Lord Brahma, explain the transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is without material qualities, and before whom did he speak? Now, Parikshit Maharaj is asking Sukadeva Goswami. Now, Brahma instructed Narada, and he told Narada to go and explain this to everyone. So, who were his audience? That is the inquiry. To whom did he go and speak? Nice inquiry. So, whose hearers are as fortunate as those instructed by Brahma. So, Narada is very fortunate. Brahma instructed. Brahma also instructed 4 Kumaras. So, those whom Brahma is instructed, they are very fortunate. So, those to whom Narada has instructed, they are also very fortunate. So, in this way, the topic of Bhagavatam is extending. Who are the hearers of this transcendental knowledge? And in what sandarbha, what was the situation where Narada spoke this transcendental knowledge to different types of audience? Different listeners are there. And every time there is a different circumstances. In what circumstances and whom did he speak? About that supreme personality of Godhead who is without any material qualities. What is the meaning of material qualities? Hankering for something. Lord doesn't want anything. Lord doesn't want anything, but it is Lord is always self-satisfied, Atmaram, Atma Santushtaha. Lord is satisfied. So Lord doesn't have any Sato Guna, Rajo Guna, Tamo Guna. He's all beyond these qualities. So how did he explain? To whom did he explain? Okay. Aruna, read.
Hare Krishna. Text 1. Rajovacha Brahmana chodito Brahman Gunakhyane gunasya cha Yasmai Yasmai yata praha Narado Devadarshanaha. Translation. King Parikshit inquired from Sukadev Goswami, how did Narada Muni, whose hearers are as fortunate as those instructed by Lord Brahma, explain the transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is without material qualities, and before whom did he speak? Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Devarshi Narada was directly instructed by Brahmaji, who was also directly instructed by the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the instructions imparted by Narada to his various disciples are as good as those of the Supreme Lord. The instruction imparted by Narada to his various disciples are as good as those of the Supreme Lord. That is the way of understanding Vedic knowledge. It comes down from the Lord by disciplic succession and his transcendental knowledge is distributed to the world by his descending process. There is no chance, however, to receive the Vedic knowledge from the mental speculators. Therefore, wherever Narada Muni goes, he represents himself as authorized by the Lord, and his appearance is as good as that of the Supreme Lord. Similarly, the disciplic succession, which strictly follows the transcendental instruction, is a bona fide chain of disciplic succession, and test for such bona fide spiritual masters is that there should be no difference between the instruction of the Lord originally imparted to his devotee and that which is imparted by the authority in the line of disciplic succession. How Narada Muni distributed the transcendental knowledge of the Lord will be explained in later cantos. It will appear also that the Lord existed prior to the material creation, and therefore his transcendental name, quality, etc., do not represent any material quality. Whenever, therefore, the Lord is described as aguna or without any quality, it does not mean that he has no quality, but that he has no material quality, such as modes of goodness, passion, or ignorance, as the conditioned souls have. He is transcendental to all material conceptions, and thus he is described as aguna. Hare Krishna.
एतद् वेदितुमिच्छामि तत्त्वं तत्त्वविदाम्बर हरेरद्भुतवीर्यस्य कथालोकसुमङ्गलाः. The king said, I wish to know, Parishad Maharaj is asking, etad veditum ichhami. I want to understand that tattvavidam of those who are well versed in the absolute truth. Vara, O best Hare of the Lord, Adbhuta Viryasya, of the one who possesses wonderful potencies, Katha, narrations, Loka for all planets, Sumangala, auspicious. The king said, I wish to know narrations concerning the Lord who possesses wonderful potencies. They are certainly auspicious for living beings in all planets. That is why hearing about Lord, narrations about Lord, speaking about Lord, everything, any narrations about Lord brings auspiciousness in the life of all living. Lakshadip. So in the purport, Prabhupada says, Bhagavatam is full of narrations. Bhagavatam contains the glories of Lord. The more we hear the leelas of Lord, it is auspicious for our life.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Shloka 2. Etad veditumicchami tattvam tattvavidam vara hareradbhuta viryasya kathaloka sumangala. Translation. The king said, I wish to know narration concerning the Lord who possesses wonderful potencies are certainly auspicious for living beings in all planets. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai ho. Srimad Bhagavatam, which is full of narration of the activities of the Supreme Lord, is auspicious for all living beings residing in every planet. One who takes it as a belonging to a particular sect is certainly mistaken. Srimad Bhagavatam is certainly a very dear scripture for all the devotees of the Lord, but it is auspicious even for the non-devotees also, because it explains that even the non-devotees hovering under the spell of material energy can be delivered from such clutches if they hear the narration of the Srimad Bhagavatam with devotion and attention from the right the Lord by disciplic succession. Hare Krishna Mataji.
So Bhagavatam contains complete narrations about the Bhagavatam contains the narrations of Lord. That is why Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya. Abhadreshu, all the inauspiciousness is removed. You see how it is started. how the questions are asked. First is asking, then he speaks about how the narrations are very important. Nice way of asking. कथयस्व महाभाग यथाहमखिलात्मनि कृष्णे निवेश्य सङ्गं मनस्त्यक्ष्ये कलेवरम्. Kathayasva, please continue speaking, Mahabhaga. Oh, fortunate one, Sukadeva Goswami, please continue speaking. As much as Aham, I, Akhilatmani unto the Supreme Soul, Krishna unto Lord Krishna, Niveshya, having placed, Nisangaha, being freed from material qualities, Manaha, mind, Yakshe, may relinquish Kalevaram, body. So, oh, Sukadeva Goswami, please continue narrating so that I can place my mind onto Supreme Lord. And in this way, I can get completely freed from material qualities and thus leave my body. Now, Parikshit Maharaj, he knows that he has to leave the body. So then he just wants to hear about Lord. He's just extending the topic. He is asking about, now what Narada did, to whom did he speak? Then naturally, other different leelas will start. That means he just wants to go on hearing. The more we hear, we can bring auspiciousness in our life. And he says, I just want to leave my body hearing about Lord. Bindu, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Kathayasva Mahabhaga Yathaham Akhilatmani Krishne Niveshya Nihasangam Manasyakshe Kalevaram. Translation. O greatly fortunate Sukadeva Goswami, please continue narrating Srimad Bhagavatam so that I can place my mind upon the Supreme Soul, Lord Krishna, and being completely freed from material qualities, thus relinquish this body. Purpose. To be fully engaged in hearing the transcendental narration described in the text of Srimad Bhagavatam means to constantly associate with the Supreme Soul, Sri Krishna. And to constantly associate with the Supreme Lord Krishna means to be liberated from the qualities of matter. Lord Krishna is like the sun, and the material contamination is like darkness. As the presence of the sun dissipates darkness, constant engagement in the association of the Lord Sri Krishna frees one from the contamination of the material qualities. Contamination by the material qualities is the cause of repeated birth and death, and liberation from material qualities is transcendent. Maharaj Parikshit was now a realized soul by this secret of liberation through the grace of Sukadeva Goswami, for the latter had informed the king that the highest perfection of life is to be in remembrance of Narayana at the end of life. Maharaja Parikshit was destined to give up his body at the end of 7 days, and thus he decided to continue remembering the Lord by his association with the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam, and thus to quit his body in full consciousness of the presence of the Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Soul. The hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam performed by professional men is different from the transcendental hearing of Maharaj Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit was a soul realized in the absolute truth, Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The fruitive materialist is not a realized soul. He wants to derive some material benefit from this so-called hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam. Undoubtedly, such an audience hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from the professional men can derive some material benefit as they desire. But that does not mean that such a pretence of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam for a week is as good as the hearing of Maharaj Parikshit. It is the duty of the saint to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from a self-realized soul and not be duped by professional men. One should continue such hearing till the end of one's life, so that one can actually have the transcendental association of the Lord and thus be liberated simply by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Maharaj Parikshit had already given up all his connections with his kingdom and family, the most attractive features of materialism. But still,
He was conscious of his material body. He wanted to be free of such bondage also by the constant association of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
So he wanted to be free from such bondage also by constant association of the Lord. शृण्वतः श्रद्धया नित्यं गुणतश्च स्वचेष्टितं कालेन नादिदीर्घेण भगवान् विशते हृदि. Shunvatah, of those who hear, Shraddhaya, in earnestness, Nityam, regularly, always, Brunataha, taking the matter, Cha also, Swacheshtitam, seriously by one's own endeavor, Kalena, duration, no not, Ati Dirghena, very prolonged time, Bhagavan, the personality of God, Sri Krishna, Vishate, becomes manifest, Hriday, within one's heart. So persons who hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly and are always taking the matter very seriously will have the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna manifested in their hearts within a short time. See the powerful statement which has been given by Parikshit Maharaj. Very clearly he says, please make me hear. And now here, O Sukadeva Goswami, please make me hear. It is said, whoever hears regularly, and that too, they are always taking up this matter very seriously, then they will have Lord manifested. So that is why in the Markine Bhagavat, the first canto, second chapter's verses are Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtithi. So in this way, after Nishtha, slowly the Bhava stage comes. Tell all the verses. Shulatam Sakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Narantastu Vadarani Gunati Swasata Ashtabhaya Shavadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Tadarajastamo Bhava Kamalo Bhadayasche Chete Terna Vidham Sitam Satve Prasidati Evam Prasanna Manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavad Tattva Vikyana Mukta Sankasya Jayate Vidyate Hridaya Granthi Siddhante Sarasamshaya Kshiyante Chasa Karmani Drishtevat Manishware. That is how Lord manifests if a person seriously takes up the chanting process, hearing process. This chanting and the hearing process makes Lord manifest within the heart of the devotee in a short time. Okay. Aruna, read.
Hare Krishna. Text 4. Shrunvata Shraddhaya Nityam Grunatascha Swacheshtitam Kalena Nati Dirghena Bhagavan Vishate Hridi. Translation. Persons who hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly and are always taking the matter very seriously will have the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna manifested in their hearts within a short time. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Cheap devotees or materialistic devotees of the Lord are very much desirous to see the Lord personally without meeting the requisite qualifications. Such third-grade devotees should know well that material attachment and seeing the Lord face to face cannot go together. It is not such a mechanical process that the professional Bhagavatam reciters can do the job on behalf of the third-grade materialistic pseudo-devotee. The professional men are useless in this connection because they are neither self-realized nor interested in the liberation of the audience. They are simply interested in maintaining the material establishment of family attachment and earning some material benefits out of the profession. Maharaja Parikshit had no more than 7 days to live, but for others, Maharaja Parikshit personally recommends that one hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly, Nityam, always by one's own effort and with a serious devotion also. That will help one to see the Lord Sri Krishna manifested in one's heart within no time. The pseudo devotee, however, is very anxious to see the Lord according to his whims, not making any serious effort to hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly and without detachment from material benefit. That is not the way recommended by an authority like Maharaja Parikshit, who heard and benefited by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
Mm. Next verse. A nice line is written. This will help one to see the Lord manifest in one's heart within no time. Srimad Bhagavatam regularly nityam, always by one sort of effort and with serious devotion also. These two lines are very important. Now, what is written just is pseudo devotee. Pseudo devotee means one who happens to be a devotee. What they say? I can see Lord. It's very easily available. Lord is easily available. And they don't want to detach also from material benefits. They want material benefit also. At the same, but this is not recommended. Maharaj Parikshit has not recommended. Para Ishanubhava Virakti Anyatracha. Your Ishanubhava should remove your attachment to the matter. If both the things are balanced, then it doesn't work. One has to perform his duty as an obligation. Simple. Just as an obligation, because Grahastha, he cannot go away from his duty. He has to perform the duty. But Swadharma, in that, Artika Dharma should not become an impediment in the path of Paramarthika Dharma. Paramarthika Dharma should be done very nicely. That is why our sadhana should be perfect. The more our sadhana is vigilant, we have to be vigilant with our own sadhana. Am I really doing nicely? Am I hearing? Am I chanting? Am I waking up early? Am I sleeping in the proper time? So our acharyas have given us very wonderful chart so that we can progress in devotional life. Pravishtaha karnarandrena sthanam bhavasaroruham dunoti shamalam krishna salilasya yathasharat. Pravishtaha, thus being entered, karna randhrena, through the holes of the ears, swanam, according to one's liberated position, bhava, constitutional relationship, saraha ruham, the lotus flower, dhunoti, cleanses, shamalam, material qualities like lust, anger, avarice, and hankering, krishna, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, salilasya, of the reservoirs of water, yatha as it were, sharat, the autumn season. The sound incarnation of Lord Krishna is Srimad Bhagavatam. Sound incarnation. Till now, scheduled incarnation was spoken. Now, what is the sound incarnation? That is Bhagavatam. When it enters into the ears, Pravishtaha Karnarandhram, the holes of the ears of a self-realized devotee, the sound incarnation enters, then sits on the lotus flower of his loving relationship, Sararuham, the flower, the bhava is compared to the flower, and thus what it does, it cleanses all the material qualities. It enters the ear, swana, according to one's liberated positions. Now, what is told here? To whatever extent. Now, there is a self-realized soul. There is a sadhaka also. There is a person who is little advanced than the sadhaka. Then he is in the stage of bhava. In all the stages, there will be some contamination. Goes and sits in that relationship, loving relationship. The Bhagavatam sits, and what it does? Cheto Tarpana Marjana. It's actually Bhagavatam, the name of Krishna, the glories of Krishna, sits and cleanses the contamination as per the, it is relative. Contamination is relative. Some may have more, some may have less. In some stages, it is more. In some stages, bhava stages, it will be less. But contamination is there even at the bhava stage. That also we have studied in Nectar of Devotion. Sadhana, bhavaha, sadhakas. There is sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, prema bhakti. Only at the stage of prema bhakti, all the contamination is done with. So whatever small contaminations we have, that also will be removed. If a person is at the bhava stage, even a small contamination, the person. Thus, it acts like the autumnal rains upon pools of muddy water. Okay. Vrindavan Leela Mataji, you can read.
Sorry, Mataji, I may not be able to read.
Okay,
I'll
okay.
just read.
Raksha Mataji, read.
Yes, Mataji.
Read.
Hare Krishna.
Read.
Shlok 5. प्रविष्ट कर्णरन्ध्रेण स्वानां भावसरोरुहं धुनोति शमलं कृष्णः सलिलस्य यथा शरत्. Translation: The sound incarnation of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Soul, that is Srimad Bhagavatam, enters into the heart of self-realized devotee, sits on the lotus flower of his loving relationship, and thus cleans the dust of material association, such as lust, anger, and hankering. Thus, it acts like autumnal rains upon pools of muddy water. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai ho. It is said that a single pure devotee of Lord can deliver all the fallen soul of the world. Thus, one who is actually in the confidence of pure devotee like Narada or Sukdev Goswami, and thus is empowered by one spiritual master as Narada was by Brahmaji, can not only deliver himself from the clutches of Maya or illusion, but can deliver the whole world by his pure and empowered devotion strength. The comparison to the autumnal rain that falls on muddy reservoir of water is very appropriate. During the rainy season, all the water of the rivers become muddy. But in the month of July, August, the autumn season, where there is a slight rainfall, the muddy waters of the rivers all over the world become at once clear. By addition of some chemical or smell, reservoir of water like that of a metropolitan waterworks tank can be cleared. But by such a tiny effort, it is not possible to clear up all the reservoir of water like the rivers. A powerful, pure devotee of the Lord, however, can deliver not only his personal self, but also many others in the association. In other words, the cleansing of the polluted heart by other method like the culture of empiric knowledge or mystic gymnastic can simply cleanse one's own heart. But devotional service to the Lord is so powerful that it cleans the heart of the people in general by the devotional service of the pure empowered devotee. A true representative of the Lord, like Narad, Sukdev Goswami, Lord Chaitanya, the six Goswami, the latest Leela Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, etc., can deliver all people by their empowered devotional service. By sincere effort to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, one realizes his constitutional relationship with the Lord in the transcendental hammer of servitude, friendship, parental affection, or conjugal love. And by such self-realization, one becomes situated at once in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Not only were all the pure devotees like Narad self-realized soul, but they were engaged in preaching work automatically by spiritual impetus, and thus they delivered many poor souls entangled in the material modes. They become so powerful because they sincerely followed the Bhagavatam principle by regular hearing and worshipping. By such action, the accumulated material lust, etc., become cleansed by the personal endeavor of the Lord within the heart. The Lord is always within the heart of the living being, but he becomes manifested by one's devotional service. Purification of the heart by culture of knowledge or mystic yoga may be all right for the time being for an individual person, but it is like the cleansing of a small quantity of stringent water by chemical process. Such clarification of water may stand for the time being and the sediments settle down. But by the slight agitation, everything becomes muddy. The idea is that devotional service to the Lord cleans the heart for good, whereas other method may be superficially good for the time being. There is a risk of becoming muddy again due to agitation of the mind. Devotional service to the Lord with specific attention for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam regularly and always is the best recommended method for liberation from the clutches of illusion. Hare Krishna.
See, The last line emphasizes on what we are emphasizing in these 2 days, isn't it? As a sadhaka, this is very much important. Devotional service to the Lord with specific attention for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam regularly and always is the best method for liberation from the clutches of illusion. The more we hear, we can understand whatever that Bhagavatam enters, sits, cleanses. Simple. Bhagavatam enters, sits, cleanses our heart. That is why emphasizing on hearing process has been given here. Other all methods like I read, I hear, sometimes people read, this hearing itself, it is like Guru Shishya Parampara. You cannot be impersonal hearing. There is something known as impersonal hearing. Nowadays you on YouTube, you will have many classes. You go on hearing, in which there is no question asked. You will get some knowledge, some cultivation of knowledge is there. Information will be there. Transformation happens when somebody is there to teach us directly. So there is a process. When hearing is there, naturally seva is there. The more we hear, the more we are eager. One is like, I only sit and read. By reading also, Patalam has not been given, Shravanam only. Shravanam has been given and then Swadhyaya. When you read, when you hear, then you read, it goes and sits. Both processes are there. When you hear, you're hearing also. When you speak, sometimes you read loudly, then you're hearing also. And in this way, you're hearing from your authorities. And then afterwards, you apply in your day-to-day life. You do and sit and do the Swadhyaya also. Now here, the process of cultivation of knowledge has been given for the Gyanis. The Gyanis, they are more interested in impersonal knowledge. So we are not interested in any impersonal knowledge. Okay. Dhitatma Purusha Krishna Padamulam Namunchati Mukta Sarva Pari Kleshaha Pantah Swasharanam Yatha Dhautatma Purusha Krishna Padamulam Namunchati Muktah Sarva Pariklesha Pantah Sharanam Yatha Dhautatma, whose heart has been cleansed, Purusha, the living being, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, Padamulam, the shelter of the lotus feet, none ever, Munchati, gives up, Muktaha, liberated, Sarva, all, Pariklesha, of all miseries of life, Pantaha, the traveler, Swasharanam, in his own abode, Yatha, as it were. A pure devotee of the Lord, whose heart has once been pleased by the process of devotional service, never relinquishes the lotus feet of the Lord, for they fully satisfy him, as a traveler is satisfied at home after a troubled journey. So a pure devotee, by the process of devotional service, never relinquishes for they fully satisfied. That means he's not tired. He's not tired of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. You always want. As a traveler is satisfied at home for a troubled journey. So when he comes home, in spite of a troubled journey, that journey is no more troublesome because he reaches the house. Isn't it? Like sometimes I think how the people are going in the local train and then coming. Morning they go, what is the goal? To earn. Why they come back? How they travel again? But their goal is to come back home. How happy he is when he comes home. At that time, he forgets that trouble. He forgets the trouble taken for reaching and then coming back. He forgets the trouble. Especially when there is a beautiful wife welcoming him, all wonderful children, Papa, Papa. Then he forgets all his trouble. So real home is actually Krishna, Krishna's abode. So if a devotee has that inclination to reach Krishna's abode, then he doesn't mind taking trouble in the sadhana. Who likes to wake up early in the morning? From today morning onwards, I'm just behind people. What time you're waking up? What time you're waking up? Who likes to wake up? Nobody wants to wake up. But still, why all of us are waking up? Because our Guru Maharaj wants. Why our Guru Maharaj is waking up early in the morning? Because his Guru Maharaj wants. And why it is recommended? Because in the morning hours, lot of Sapoguna is there. Everybody likes to sleep. But the trouble which is taken to reach that home, once you reach that home, once Krishna enters the heart, reveals himself, then that trouble which has been taken is no more trouble. So a devotee loves to wake up early in the morning so that he doesn't lose that morning hours. Morning hours are meant for sadhana. That hours are gone, then whole day is there available. 24 hours is there. But that morning hours should not be lost. That is the most precious hour, which is actually, even in the Brahmanda, koti somebody gives you crores of rupees. But that morning hours, if you lose it, and if a person has that morning hours, then actually that is more than a millennium, more than millions of rupees given. That's why morning hours are very important. That trouble which is taken by a sadhaka, that is no more trouble if a person achieves this goal of placing Srimad Bhagavatam within the heart and achieving the goal of getting the lotus feet of Krishna. Okay, Bindu read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dautatma Purushah Krishna Padamulam na munchati Mukta Sarva Parikleshah Pantah Sarva Saranam Yata. Translation: a pure devotee of the Lord whose heart has once been cleansed by the process of devotional service never relinquishes the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, for they fully satisfy him as the traveler is satisfied at home after a troubled journey. Purport: one who is not a pure devotee of Lord Supreme Lord Krishna is not completely cleansed in the heart, but a perfectly cleansed person never quits the devotional service of the Lord. In discharging such devotional service as ordered by Brahmaji or Narada in the preaching of Srimad Bhagavatam, sometimes a representative of the Lord engaged in preaching work meets various so-called difficulties. This was exhibited by Lord Nityananda when he delivered the two fallen souls, Jagai and Madai, and similarly Lord Jesus Christ, who was crucified by the non-believers. But such difficulties are very gladly suffered by the devotees in preaching, because in such activities, although apparently very severe, the devotees of the Lord feel transcendental pleasure because the Lord is satisfied. Lord Prahlad Maharaj suffered greatly, but still he never forgot the lotus feet of the Lord. This is because a pure devotee of the Lord is so purified in his heart that he cannot leave the shelter of Lord Krishna in any circumstances. There is no self-interest in such service. The progress of culturing knowledge by the Gyanis or the bodily gymnastics by the yogis are ultimately given up by the respective performers. But a devotee of the Lord cannot give up the service of the Lord, for he is ordered by his spiritual master. Pure devotees like Narada and Nityanand Prabhu take up the order of the supreme spiritual master as the sustenance of life. They do not mind what becomes of the future of their lives. They take the matter very seriously as the order comes from the higher authority, from the representative of the Lord, or from the Lord himself. The example set herein is very appropriate. A traveler leaves home to search for wealth in far distant places, sometimes in the forest, and sometimes on the ocean, and sometimes on hilltops. Certainly, there are many troubles for the traveler when he is in such unknown places. But all such troubles are not at once mitigated as soon as the sense of his family affection is remembered. And as soon as he returns home, he forgets all such troubles on the way. A pure devotee of the Lord is exactly in a family tie with the Lord, and therefore he is undeterred in discharging his duty in a full affectionate tie with the Lord. Hare Krishna.
यद्धातो मतो ब्रह्मन् देहारम्भोऽस्य धातुभिः यदृच्छया हेतुना वा भवन्तो जानते यथा यथा as it is adhatu matah without being materially constituted Brahman, O learned Brahmana, Deha, the material body, Arambha, the beginning of Asya, the living being, Dhatubhi, by matter, Idruchaya, without cause, accidental, Hetuna, due to some cause, Va either, Bhavantaha, your good self, Janate, as you may know it, Yatha, so you inform me. O learned Brahmana, the transcendental spirit soul is different from the material body. Does he acquire the body accidentally or by some cause? Will you explain this? For it is known to you. Now, how does he acquire a body? Does he acquire the body accidentally or by some cause? What a nice question. Now the question has now about, till now about the hearing was there. Now how does a living entity acquire the body? Is it dependent on some cause? All this I want to know. I want to know about how Bhagavatam enters the heart, how it cleanses, where all Narada spoke, and then I want to know how the spirit soul changes the body. What type of body does he get? All this is just accidental, or is there any cause behind getting a wonderful body? And this is a consciousness. What type of conscious body he has? What type of consciousness is there in the next life? All these things are given. He's asking these questions. Okay. Raksha, read.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Sloka 7. Yatha tu mato brahman deharambhosya dhatubihi yatruchaya hetuna va bhavanto janate yatha. Translation: O learned Brahmana, the transcendental spirit soul is different from the material body. Does he acquire the body accidentally or by some cause? Will you kindly explain this, for it is known to you? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai ho. Maharaja Parikshit, being a typical devotee, is not only satisfied by the confirming the importance of hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam from the representative of Brahmaji by reciprocal succession, but he is still more anxious to establish the philosophical basis of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such, all questions that may arise in the mind of the serious student must be cleared by the statement of the authority. A person on the path of devotional service may inquire from his spiritual master all about the spiritual position of God and the living beings. From the Bhagavad Gita as well as from the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is known that qualitatively the Lord and the living beings are one. The living being in the conditioned state of material existence is subjected to many transmigration by continuous changing of the material body. But what are the cause of the material embodiment of the part and parcel of the Lord? Maharaj Parikshit inquires about this very important matter for the benefit of all classes of candidates on the path of self-realization and devotional service to the Lord. Indirectly, it is confirmed that the Supreme Being...
One minute. But what are the causes of the material embodiment? So how this matter comes? What type of body, material embodiment? What is the reason behind it? That has been asked. Read.
Indirectly, it is confirmed that the Supreme Being, the Lord, makes no such material changes of body. He is spiritually whole with no difference between his body and his soul, unlike the conditioned soul. The liberated living beings who associated with the Lord in person are also exactly like the Lord. Only the conditioned soul awaiting liberation are subject to the change of bodies. How was the process first begun? In the process of devotional service, the first step is to take shelter of the spiritual master and then inquire from the spiritual master all about the process. This inquiry is essential for immunity to all kind of offenses on the path of devotional service. Even if one is fixed in devotional service like Maharaj Parikshit, he must still inquire from the realized spiritual master all about, also be well versed and learned so that he may be able to answer all these inquiries from the devotees. Thus, one who is not well versed in the authorized scriptures and not able to answer all such relevant inquiries should not pose as a spiritual master for the matter of material gain. It is illegal to become a spiritual master if one is unable to deliver the discipline. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So here we'll stop. Any questions you can ask. Last time is so wonderful. It is illegal to become a spiritual master if one is unable to deliver the discipline. That means it is the duty of the spiritual master to give the right path. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Vimla?
Mataji.
Yeah.
Mataji, I
Vimla.
think in the third verse, in fact, in all the verses, there has been so much of emphasis on listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. At the same time, Prabhupada also gives the warning how we should be very careful from hearing from the right source. So, which is a bigger risk, like not hearing, or many times we are getting to hear from wrong people? So, what should one do? Because many times we are not even sure.
Whoever is hearing, whoever is reading from the Sampradaya teachings and not just telling about his own mind, it is a proper way of hearing. There are many professional speakers, they don't, they're professional speakers. They take money out of it.
But Mataji, like, I'm sorry, like I'm saying this, but
We
then
have a
of
Sampradaya.
late,
In the Sampradaya, whoever is speaking.
like now of
Uh-huh.
late, I've been seeing there are devotees who are also faculties, but they are speaking against Shukadev Goswami ji himself, and they are from our sampradaya. They are like so-called bona
It's not
fide.
here. It's not here. Simple. Why here and let them do whatever they want. There are so many people.
No, I was thinking like many. In fact, I started with self-reading.
We are fortunate.
So
There are people who are speaking very wrong. Why? To whom we are going to correct? And how many people are we going to correct? And anyhow, if we go on correcting like this, it will only lead to what? Klesha, Kali.
yes. I'm not talking about
And wherever
correcting.
Kali is there, Krishna is not going to appear.
Sorry.
I'm not talking
No,
about
I'm not
correcting. Klesha,
like,
na? Kali is...
means what to choose in that type of situation. Not to hear, then suppose we are not very fortunate enough to have another alternative. So what should be done in that situation?
chant and
Yes,
beg
Mataji.
mercy. That
Very
is also
true.
hearing only, na?
Yes. Yes.
Chant and beg mercy.
Yeah, this is a nice way out. Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Vaishnavan ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare